Gamer Legion C versus the Chileans, Whitecourt and Noisick. The moment a lot of people have been waiting for. Nili+Jordan joining forces and try to become the third team from Gamer Legion in the main event. Doubt and Slam and Viper and Tattoo were invited teams in the main event. And Gamer Legion 3 or Gamer Legion C want to be the third team in there. Jordan, after his great performance in Hidden Cup, I think now he's looking forward for some good team game results with Nili, who has a good shot at getting in here, because this, I think, is gonna be a very, very good and balanced series. So let's take a look at this one. One of the things I like about this is that Nili and Jordan are well known for their preparation, and this tournament is very, very, very tournament or very preparation heavy. So both in terms of Civ draft, both in terms of map draft, both in terms of using the maps. So that should be on the side of Gamer Legion. Let's take a look at the civilizations: Vikings, Chinese, global bands, Portuguese, Italians, Khmer, Berbers, Mayans for Gamer Legion as the first pool, Burgundians, Byzantines, Burmese, Spanish, and Turks as the second pool, and Britons, Franks, Ethiopians, Cumans, Japanese for the Chileans in the first pool, Sicilians, Incas, Goths, Aztecs, and Saracens in the second pool. With that being said, I think we're good to go for a game number one. Gamer Legion versus the Chileans over here, Whitecourt and Noisick. We're gonna have the first game, Arabia, over here. So please welcome in cold colors Gamer Legion. Nili with Mayans in green. To the south of him is going to be his teammate Burgundians for Jordan in blue. A very, very common pool to civilization that is going to be fairly decent as a cavalry civ on this map. Other side, Noisick is going to be playing with Franks in yellow. To the south of it is going to be Saracens in red. So they actually decide to go for Saracens on this map instead of Team Islands. It's going to be a nice combination of civilizations. Franks obviously will beat Burgundians post-Imp, but honestly, Burgundians is probably going to be better than Franks in the majority of the game as the cavalry civilization before post-Imp, and Mayans will be way better than Saracens for most of the game. So there is not much that goes for Saracens, maybe some market usage and an early castle age for a nice push, but it's going to be tough for this civilization composition. The Franks is nice. The problem here, I think, is the Saracens being very, very underwhelming compared to Mayans. With that, Jordan is going to be playing in blue. He's got a beautiful map over here, if you ask me. The berries are a little bit wacky, but easy deer push, super easy deer push, in fact. Two close bores, gold at the back, and other than that, it's a fairly volable base. The stone is not nice, but that's a secondary thing right now. We'll have Nili on the north in green as Mayans. His gold is also amazing for this map, to be honest. So you got easy wall off here, woodlands at the back. Bear is not nice, and his front in general is very open, but this gold mine actually is perfect for him. I'm looking at Whitecourt's map, which is actually Noisick's one. Noisick is going to have an okay-ish gold mine over here, but it's on elevation. So placing a mining camp on this one is going to be challenging. Where can you even place a mining camp here? Hold on for a second. You shouldn't be able to place good mining camps over here, right? So maybe here you have to place that mining camp. That's an awful gold spawn because of that elevation. Other than that, it's actually safe, but accessing it is going to be troublesome. And on the south, we're going to have Whitecourt as Saracens in red. He is going to have a fairly open base, hard to wall. It's workable, but it's not ideal because the stone's golds are off. And oftentimes Saracens want early stone because they want to sell that for reasonable gold income as well. What does the elevation matter? The elevation does matter because you might not be able to drop it, you drop the mining camp close to it. And also, sometimes you have to, well, honestly, it doesn't matter that much. If you drop a mining camp well, it's fine. we'll see where the mining camp can fit. If you can fit a mining camp over here, then it's all good. If you can't, that's troublesome. That being said, Nili is here with his ego, and let's see if he is actually thinking about poking that Voyager. It's not going to be the case. Noisick actually adding Voyager number 4 already on wood. So, a little bit of a scout scuffle over here on the left side. Jordan has an HP advantage over a Whitecourt. So that's a nice little start for him. Jordan also pushed in all but one of his deers, so that is an excellent start for him. And it's going to be a nice and easy 20-pop scouts build from Jordan over here. On the north, Nili is going to be playing most likely either man-at-arms archers or straight archers. In this one, Volov coming in here for Noisick early on. Noisick is actually going to play... What is this even? Is this actually a fast Castle Knights build? I did mention that there is 4 on wood here for quite a while now. And, okay, Noisick actually cancels the Veils and goes up. So, ooh, 21 pop, no loom. Interesting, I'm not sure if this is intentional or not, and it's a risky thing. Because the thing is that if you go no loom, you won't be able to safely drop our barracks, and you can see that Nili is just chilling there and looking for Voyagers. So this is a very greedy up here from Noisick. Going without loom. Nili, look at the lamer boy. Look at the lamer boy, man. Ah, feels bad, and that Voyager has no loom. Nili can fight it. Nili just needs to click that Voyager. I think he just realized. That's a no loom Voyager, and it's a 21 pop feudal, sure, but Nili, I think he could have just killed that Voyager, to be honest. It feels like Nili is playing this one safe, but if he is a little bit more aggressive, that could have been a very nice advantage, and they could have punished his opponent so much for that no loom up. And indeed, it's worth pointing out, Nili just made a video. It was a very popular video. I think it got like something like 20-ish thousand views in the first day or so. About laming in tournaments, and I think, I haven't seen the video in its entirety, but I think Nili said that he doesn't like laming in tournaments, and indeed he just lamed some sheep from his opponent, got one killed by the TC, so they actually played this tournament some time ago, so I'm not sure when that video was made in comparison to this one, but maybe, just maybe Nili made that video saying that laming is bad because he was so successful with laming that he felt bad about that. It's very possible. With that, there is going to be the ranges coming in here for Nili. Nice and easy walls on the front. And in the meanwhile, we are going to have scouts from Jordan. No surprise about that with Burgundians. He already has Horse Color and Bitaxe for himself. And he might even go for Boso in the foreseeable future. Takes a scout fight over here, but loses the life of his scout for now. 2 ranges coming in here for Whitecourt. Whitecourt, as I said, doesn't really have a great base. He goes for the safer gold mine, but this is actually a little bit problematic. Because it takes so much time to walk your Voyagers from the TC to this gold mine. This is safer, but the walking time is greater, and that's going to delay your archer play because your gold income isn't going to be great. This is a better gold mine from the perspective that it takes less time to get in here, but still, at the end of the day, it is somewhat less safe, I would say. Still, you're up against the Scouts player, and that means that this should be no problems. With that being said, Scouts are now coming out for Jordan. It looks like Noisick is just trying to patrol his own Scouts back at home, making sure that his base is not broken into until he's finished with his woes, and Nili is just massing archers back at home. So, with that, archers will be chilling back at home for Nili, and it's just gonna be scouts. Obviously, Jordan's scouts will be way worse than the Frankish scouts, because he can't get bloodlines, so he will forever be behind in terms of HP. So, with that, Jordan is slowly finishing off his woes. These are some very good woes over here for him, and it looks like we have one scout inside Nili's base here, but it's not really going to do much. It's a low HP scout, so I would be heavily surprised if there was a Voyager pick from this one. So, we have a blue ping over here. This is telling Nili that, hey, I'm here with my scouts. Nili is coming in with a couple of archers, and guess what? These archer ranges are very far away from this combat over here, so Whitecourt's archer ranges at the back will be very troublesome. Like, these are good ranges to fight against Jordan, but these will be really bad right now because you have some extra time to walk through from this point to this point instead of having them over here, where it would be a little bit easier to actually catch this. But guess what? That's Saracens for you, and I believe that this could be a heavy market abuse, maybe early Castle Age, for our red player. His food count is still awful, but he might just try to abuse market quite heavily over here and go for an early Castle Age with crossbows. That's the one thing that Saracens could give you in this situation. Other than that, I like Mayans a lot better. Fletching just now coming in here for Nili, as the scouts loop around to hit them from the back. No defense upgrades or no upgrades on them whatsoever. Jordan scouts derping out a little bit, not attacking the walls. As for now, I think that Noisick is just waiting for the opportunity to jump on those archers. Taking down archers like that would be extremely helpful. For Nili, it would be nice if he had like 2 spearmen or even just 1 spearman helping out over here, making sure the scouts can just finish this one off. But you gotta be careful, because those are Saracen archers. And Saracen archers can get through walls very easily. Whitecourt still doing some massive eco-balancing using the market. As I said, Saracens, it's better for them to just mine gold like crazy and buy the food that they need instead of actually establishing a working food eco. With that, the scouts now jump on Nili's archers, and Jordan actually pulled away his scouts, so Nili's going to lose quite a lot of archers. That's actually really bad for Nili. That's awful for Nili. Look at this. Whitecourt is getting close to picking up to Castle Age. He's gonna have the archers that gets through walls easily. Nili's got 9 archers. He's up against 13. And oh boy, I think Jordan could be in trouble here because that's a lot of scouts. 9 Frankish scouts over here. Castle Age coming in for Jordan and Nili. If they survive, they will have the advantage here. But there is a big if in that. Nice move from Jordan with the market wall. That was a beautiful move from him. But it's Saracen archers, so you gotta question if this is gonna be enough. There's gonna be only a couple of scouts from Jordan. He didn't go for a lot of army, and he might actually get punished from this. If it wasn't Saracen archers, I think this would be alright. But I think that with Saracen archers in, that's going to be more problematic. Jordan actually dropping a market wall here, trying to limit the movement of those scouts. And it looks like Nili will bring in his own archers. He's still 1 minute away from Castle Age. This was a very, very greedy Castle Age from Nili. He goes for fletching just now, and I feel like the greed is sort of backfiring. I like the idea of trying to beat your opponent to Castle Age here, going for knights and early crossbows, but against Saracens that's very, very dangerous, and Jordan now has to drop a panic tower over here. Nice quick walls, but it's Saracen archers, man. They will just eat their way through those gates, and I think Jordan is in huge trouble here. Nili arrives with the crossbows, or well, it's right now still archers, and with that, Jordan is in trouble. He is in huge trouble, because the scouts will just camp down the bottom of the tower, and archers will just destroy this tower as it is. I think if you're Nili now, you gotta wait until your crossbow hits. Because the thing is that Jordan already took a big punishment, you don't want to lose your archers. You wanna use crossbows now, at least. Get some return value, and by return value I actually mean that you destroy the opponent's archers with your crossbows, and you don't lose your archer numbers. That being said, Jordan ends up losing 3 villagers, and their opponents will lose quite a lot of archers. So this may not be completely over. The scouts here are pretty much useless, so it's not really a big deal. But the archers do hurt for Whitecourt. Not necessarily ideal for Jordan's team, especially defensive tower, losing 3 villagers. But they might be able to survive this one overall. So with that, now the scouts are trying to find at least 1 more villager pick. Jordan trying to chase these with his knights, but he definitely took a big punishment. But here's the deal. Now these crossbows can start moving towards the Saracen player. We got 13 crossbows versus 13 crossbows as well. These guys have +1 defense in for a Saracen player as well. No ballistics for Nili, instead he goes for 3 TC's boom over here. There is gonna be 2 TCs for Noisick in yellow. Jordan is going to be playing with 1 right now, no Cavalier just yet, but he's soon going to have to grab Cavalier, otherwise his knights will be fairly fragile. So, with that, 3 TCs for Nili, and you gotta be careful with Mayans going for a full crazy boom here, because Whitecourt is going to be playing 1 TC. So, as much as Jordan has taken some punishment on his eco, At the end of the day, he's behind by 3 villagers compared to the other cavalry player, but Nili is gonna have a massive, massive lead over his counterpart. Crossbow's now heading towards the base of Noisick, and there's a lot to hit here, especially if you get through these pod sides. I like that the front of the walls has been reinforced with houses, but that is now 21 crossbows heading this way, and you see that Whitecourt's army right now is very, very far away, and this is the time to shine for Nili+Jordan. They will try to get their way through these walls, but that's not really going to happen, so there is at least some time for Whitecourt to bring in his army. Second TC coming in for a red player right now. Still no Cavalier. For Jordan, he's just playing with Knights, and he only has +1 defense. That hurts more. You gotta grab +2 defense as soon as possible, because otherwise you would just have trouble against the crossbows. Still, that house is going down quite rapidly, and one thing that Noisick doesn't have is knight numbers. Remember that he was going for a lot of scouts in feudal, so he was delayed to Castle Age, which means that he didn't really have time to mass knights. Now his knights unpop, and they do have +1, +2. So those knights are way better than the knights from Jordan, though. That's something to pay attention for. Some idle time on the food eco, but suddenly Nili's army could get trapped in here. They still have the hill, which is extremely important, and Nili could just try to camp down this hill. Now they surrendered the hill, though, and the Whitecourt is coming in from the other side. Oh my goodness. That's a disaster, I think, for GL. They don't have +2 defense on those knights, and that army is gonna get absolutely evaporated, I believe. Or will it? It might just end up being all those crossbows being dead, and the knights will live to see another day, but I think this was a way better fight for the Chileans. That being said, Nili's team now has a 6 villagers lead, but Jordan's knights were horribly under-upgraded. Over here, only +1 defense, no, not even the extra HP from the Cavalier. He's gonna go for the early Cavalier here with Burgundians, otherwise he's gonna be in trouble. Still just +1 defense from him. Nili is gonna go for range number 3 over here. He still has a formidable force with ballistics, and we shouldn't underestimate the fact he's 61 villagers. And Mayan's early Imperial with Arbalest can always be a dangerous thing to focus on. With that, Jordan desperately needs that Cavalier and +2 defense. His eco isn't looking necessarily great. He's going for a free TC boom. Overall, GL feels to like they're playing this one very greedy. So they didn't commit a lot to Feudal Age army. They decided that, okay, we want to go to Castle Age. Nili went for immediately free TCs. Jordan now will be on free TCs as well. Now is Cavalier coming in. Although I think +2 defense would be a little bit better at this stage, but Cavalier is a bit cheaper for Burgundians. So that's why it makes sense for them. 20 crossbows against 20 crossbows, that's still fine. And Jordan is pinging this side of the wall, so they will actually move out to engage once again. Crossbows, however, coming in here from Whitecourt, and keep in mind that Saracen crossbows will start melting buildings. So Jordan actually needs to fight this one with cavalry. He spots the crossbows, and Jordan immediately pings to his teammate, hey, crossbows are coming for me. Say goodbye to that palisade gate. Saracen crossbows eating their way through that. And Jordan currently is sitting on 7 knights against 15 knights and 23 crossbows, soon pushing his eco. The Cavalier and chain barring will soon be in, and luckily for Nili+Jordan, it looks like the Chileans are disengaging. This is extremely important, because if they committed to this one, this could have been a disaster for Jordan. Now, with that, we're gonna have +2 defense in as well, and now Cavaliers and +2 defense, those cavalry will actually be better than the ones from Noisick now. It looks like Nili is gonna bring in his crossbows as well. 78 villagers already for him. Overall villager count starting to swing into the favor of GL more and more. 11 villagers lead right now for them. 3 TCs for Noisick, only 2 for Whitecourt. 4 TC being added by Nili over here. And they want to take one decisive engagement. The stable will go down, but once again, you're not going to commit more to this one. Here come the crossbows from Nili. Nili does have ballistics and +2 defense, no +2 defense on those crossbows from Whitecourt, but numbers 26 crossbows against 20 and 13 knights against just 8, and 3 of them are not fighting. So Jordan's gonna bring in his own cavaliers. In this one, Nili finds a beautiful hill to fire downhills from. That's actually pretty decent value over there. And that overall is a good fight now for Gamer Legion. The hill advantage paying off here. And as I said, one thing that you have to be careful about is an Imperial Age for the Mayan player. That's exactly what's going to happen for Nili. Saracens can actually catch up with that with the market usage, but you see that Nili's eco is far ahead of Whitecourt's eco. Neither of the cavalry players are close to clicking into Imperial at this stage. So we gotta go and take a look at Noisick, who is still playing with 3 stables Knights production. Jordan actually lost a stable, but he rebuilt 3 more. So we are gonna have 4 stables worth of Cavalier production. Crossbows trying to commit to this one. This could be dangerous because that's quite a lot of Cavalier that could intercept them. The Cavalier do not have any attack upgrades. Actually, they do now. So these are now scary Cavalier. They do have 2 extra attack over these Knights, and that actually does matter. Nili is gonna be 20 seconds ahead of his opponent into Imperial. Not the biggest lead ever, but once again, this is the final time that Saracens is going to be useful over here, because you want to reach early Imperial with Saracens. After that, Saracen Arbs are completely generic, whereas Nili's Arbs will cost a lot less, and early Paladin could be on the minds of Jordan as well with those resources, so he could be thinking about, okay, I can go up to Imp. He's getting housed for a moment, going for University and the Monastery, so he definitely wants to go up right now for early Paladin. I think they might be sensing that Noisick could be up as well, but Noisick isn't up, and in fact, once again, this will be a little bit scary for Nili, because they go for the early age up, but that's going to result in them being outnumbered quite heavily. 13 Cavalier against a horde of 28 Knights. Now, if Nili was an Imperial and he had Arbs, he would just defend against this one easily, but the thing is that 26 crossbows isn't really enough against 28 Knights with +1/+2, and Nili is going to lose all his crossbows. Oh my goodness. The early Imperial can pay off if you're actually able to get there, but this is the hardest time. And this is why Malay is an amazing civilization in many ways. They don't need to wait that much to reach the next age, and that's extremely important. Even if you get Bracer in, that's enough. Because you can start melting those knights a lot easier, and it looks like Nili actually keeps some of his crossbows alive. Wasn't looking like how he imagined it, but he keeps his crossbows alive, and luckily he's Mayans, so he can replenish them. Nili's still at 42 crossbows, man. He just lost like 20, but Mayans don't care. Mayans just do not care, and he's still at 42 crossbows. In comparison, Whitecourt is Imp, but his numbers are only 49. Imperial Age coming in for Jordan, he's gonna be careful because Saracen Arbs will start moving out. But it looks like Gamer Legion will now focus on Noisick. Noisick is on the way to Imperial as well as the last player in the game. Siege Workshop already for Nili, so he's gonna go for the Siege Ram push as well. It looks like Jordan will spot the Arbalest heading his way, and this could still be scary, because that's a lot of Arbalasts, and they can just eat their way through those palisade walls very, very easily. So I think Jordan, he kind of needs his cavalry back at home right now. And the difference here is that Nili's Arbs can't do much against buildings, whereas Whitecourt's Arbs can actually do. Like, Whitecourt's Arbs will just melt buildings. Jordan almost up to Imperial. He needs +4 defense before he can fight this one. If he gets +4 defense, he's gonna be good to go. They commit to this DC, and remember that the cavalry player is always the more important player, so losing the cavalry player definitely hurts for both teams here. Jordan loses a couple of villagers over here, but same applies for Noisick. 70 Arbs against 61. Jordan getting a Paladin and Plate Barring. I don't think that he can actually hold out until Paladin kicks in, so he's gotta wait until Cavalier and +4 defense and start fighting this one. He's gonna send in all his cavalry back at home. They intercept an army over here of Arbs. Chemistry soon in for Whitecourt as well. Jordan committing a lot to repairing DC. They still have the eco lead, but that soon will vanish. Nili brings in his own Arbs to relieve his teammate, but Jordan's food eco is in ruins. He's got 10 villagers on food, and the defensive castle is going to slow down Nili's progress so much. And this is a problem for them, because now it's Cavalier for Noisick. Noisick is gonna have 20 Cavalier on the field. And remember that he can also go for Paladin. Those Paladin, and now Jordan has to fight this. You don't just let your teammate die there. Oh, Jordan, that was a little bit of a miscommunication between the two players, because Nili's Arbs were there, but there was no meat shield in front. And now it's Capdram coming in here from Nili, but they're not actually killing Noisick, whereas Jordan is actively dying in this one. 11 on food only, and they're actually waiting for Paladin, but here's the deal. I think Paladin will soon be clicked by Noisick. Well, not with that eco, but Now it looks like they're heading towards Whitecourt. They realize that the Arbalest player is the real danger right now, so they want to clean him up as much as possible. There is more Arbs coming in here for Nili, but now the Cavalier will overrun that. And here is a big fight coming in. Upgrade-wise, there is actually +4 defense for Nili's Arbs as well. There is even Paladin getting converted, and this was the moment that they're waiting for. Being able to push Whitecourt's eco could be important, although the Arbs are actually focusing down the house, which hurts so much over here. Still just Cavalier for Noisick. They engage this fight, and I think GL is now slowly coming back into this one, because now those Arbs are getting cleaned up. 20 Arbs for Whitecourt. And even though Jordan was losing eco, if you take a look at that, that's not the end of the world type of an eco, whereas Whitecourt has no army and soon no eco. Paladins are rampaging his eco, and now this force is freed up to start pushing this one. I feel like GL is actually coming back into this one. It looked extremely scary for them, but being able to retain army actually matters a lot. And now these archers are trickling in one by one, so they get intercepted by the Paladins. 106 military against 20, and after some very, very scary moments for Jordan, Nili's team actually wins game number 1. So nicely done by Nili and Jordan. They take game number 1. So with that, we will actually take a look at the remaining draft. We'll go to the first home map of Gamer Legion. No, wait, actually no. We're going to Chilean home map. Apologies. We're going to Chilean's home map. It's always losing team's home map. Eruption or Team Acropolis. So let's take a look what the Chileans decided to go for. Game number 2 in Gamer Legion versus the Chilean plebs, as they selected this teammate for themselves. Whitecourt and Noisick, two of the best Chilean players out there. And we'll have Whitecourt and Noisick on the left side in yellow in Aztecs, and Britons for Whitecourt in Noisick. An interesting combination of civilizations. You might realize that there is no cavalry civ here, so it has to be archers and eagles, which makes this pretty tough. I like the civilization for Jordan a lot better. Berbers was one of the best civilizations on Gold Rush in 2v2 World Cup, and I believe that that applies for them as well over here. Jordan will be the blue cavalry player in Berbers to the south, and Nili will be the Byzantine player, which once again is a very, very good civilization. Byzantines somewhat act like a budget Mayans civilization on this map, so they can reach early Imperial, and if you remember how 2v2 World Cup was happening, it was always like, okay, you have Berbers that are flooding knights in Castle Age from triple stables, and then the other player, with Mayans mostly, is just going to click into Imperial fast and finish the game off with Arbalasts. That's probably the game plan here as well for Nili and Jordan. A very, very open base for Nili over here. It's going to be tough to wall overall. He doesn't really have a safe gold mine. On the south, we have a much better map for Jordan this time. Easily wallable, relatively safe berries with gold and potentially stone that can be secured as well. We got Noisick with a quite open map as well. And lastly, we're going to have a Whitecourt with a Capture Age freeze, but more importantly, a gold mine on the back, which is what matters the most. The berries are not so great for him, but other than that, this is an alright map. So this is definitely one of the more open generations on this map. Oftentimes you're seeing a lot more volable maps. It seems like now the wood lines are a little bit further away from the players. So with that, it looks like Noisick actually tries to block the boar from Jordan. Jordan does not have a shaky hand, and well, for a moment that was a little bit sloppy. He ungarrisoned his villagers and started moving towards the berries, but he ends up having a very, very nice kill spot for that boar. With that, we're gonna have Noisick bring in his first boar as well. He didn't find 2 of his sheep right now. It might even be 3 sheep. Yeah, it's actually 2 sheep missing over here for Noisick, who is trying to isolate the villager, and oh boy, disaster starts continue to happen for Jordan over here, apparently. He almost lost the villager over here to an eagle. Reacted nicely though to save that. So, with that, deer push coming in here for Whitecourt. The majority of the deer is on this hill, so you can actually take quite a lot of food from that if you want to. You can't really push in 3-4 deer like you would be able to on Arabia, but 2 or 3 deer should be fairly doable, I would say. So with that, we will have what appears to be a perennial drush over here from Whitecourt. This will be spotted by Nili, so Nili knows exactly that... No, wait a second. Wait a second. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Nili turned back at the worst possible moment. He doesn't see that barracks. Oh, that hurts so much. That's by a single tile. I thought he was coming from this direction. That could catch him off guard then. Having a couple of militias show up right next to his base could actually be a disaster for him. Nili is slowly rolling up the left side, but he's unprepared for the militias for the time being. It's going to be a free militia drush here from our Britain player. Most likely drush FC, if you ask me, because he's pushing in the air, he's Britain, so he gathers faster from sheep. Oh, and with this drush, I think drush archer doesn't really make a lot of sense, because with archers you have to get through walls. By the time you actually get to your opponent and try to get through walls with the drush archers build, your opponent is gonna be in castle age. So it's either straight archers or drush FC in my perspective, and it looks like Nili will finish his walls just in time. So the militias won't be able to do much over here. Loom comes in for Whitecourt for these walling villagers, playing this one safe. And for Nili, he is actually getting ready to click into feudal age here with what is going to be a 23 pop feudal. Just not getting a loom, or nope, it's not going to be a feudal. He's adding farms. He's getting loom. But this is going to be an FC from Nili, most likely a naked fast castle over here. Whitecourt trying to block the walls as much as possible for his drush. Nili, as I said, he's very, very open, so he has to expand his base all the way out here because of this gold mine. That is going to be a good gold mine if you finish the walls, but finishing these walls is going to be really challenging. One tile is still being blocked here, and there comes the scout, and oh boy... Oh boy, Nili trying to quick wall this one, and I think he's going to lose. I think this is actually worse than just leaving it open, to be honest. And now he's gonna run back to the TC with the villager, I think. Tries to quick wall this one, but that's not gonna happen. One villager bites the dust over here. Just a little too late with the walls, and that's going to cost one villager's life. Also an awful spot to kill that sheep over there. Other side, we will have Jordan going up the feudal with a 22 pop. Interestingly, this is too late for scouts, too early for an FC, so I'm not sure what he's thinking about. He's not on gold, so it might just be a boom into castle age after all. Nili, right now under pressure by the militias. He is still mostly alright though, but he's gonna be careful not to lose additional villagers. In here, Jordan, it seems like he's just gonna boom in feudal age. So, Jordan lets his teammate boom. And for now, Nili is trying to clean this one up. Funnily enough, both of these games right now feel like in the first game, it somewhat felt like Nili left his teammate to die. Now it is Jordan leaving his teammate to die. I want to draw a fun comparison with that. Back in the days, I wasn't in the AoE community back then, but I saw the tournament on AoE Zone in like the archives. There was a tournament that Nili hosted that was called Let Your Teammate Die. It was a 3v3 tournament, and basically the way that happened is that, for example, it was always 2 versus 1 over there, and that's why basically one player from each team had to fight against 2. And yeah, that reminds me a little bit to this Let Your Teammate Die attitude. It was a nice tournament name, I have to say. Nili was his voyager in on the berries. And at the end of the day, these militias are definitely doing work. So Noisick goes for 27 villagers, might be a little too tight for Britons here. I'm not sure, in fact, I'm fairly certain now that Whitecourt isn't going to be able to pull this one off with +2 villagers. There's gotta be +3 villagers, because his gold count is still low. Maybe if he sells gold or sells stone, but I don't think he's gonna go market. He's gonna go for range and blacksmith. In this one, here's the range, and the blacksmith will soon come in as well. So with that, Jordan still just booming over here, nice and casual. We have a fast castle over here from Noisick as well. He has a barracks already, but he didn't make anything. I love this polycide on this wolf. This actually doesn't do much because you can't see the wolf anymore. That was patched some time ago. You can still know that, hey, the wolf is over there, and that's going to be an important piece of information, so that you don't bump in there if you want to go for a fourth voyager. But still, that's not going to help at all for Noisick. With that, the militias are out for a Whitecourt, still harassing Nili a little bit, but Nili at the end of the day lost 2 villagers. Not ideal, but not necessarily the end of the world. So with that, we're gonna have Jordan still in Feudal Age, and that's the scary part. The thing is that Berber Knights will be able to clap eagles, but it is an eagle number problem that you're facing. If the Aztecs go for triple barracks eagles immediately and they beat you to Castle Age by a minute or so, and it's gonna be even more, it's gonna be a minute and a half, 2 minutes, you're just gonna be able to overrun the Berber player with eagles, and it is the second barracks over there for Noisick. We got another villager. Oh, feels Nili, man. Feels Nili, man. That's number 3 now for our hippo, and that starts to look bad. That starts to look really bad. He makes a skirmisher to clean up the militias over here. But I think the problem right now is that these 2 militias accomplished way more. Like, if you... with a drush, all you want to make sure is that you just harass your opponent a little bit until you're finished with your walls. They actually killed 3 villagers in here, and they're still harassing our green player. Second TC is up for Whitecourt soon. It looks like Nili has pinged that there's archers coming from the Briton player. It's not really surprising. They should know if it's archers from the British player, it has to be eagles from our yellow player. It looks like it's only double barracks eagles. So not a full aggro play from Noisick. He's just gonna go for an aggressive eagle play to secure some map control for himself, but not gonna go full aggro with 3 barracks. Instead, he's actually going to prioritize adding some eco as well. I think you could definitely go for triple barracks eagles right now, because the Berbers can go triple stable knights. It's right now double stables, so both players are playing this one a little bit more cautiously, so to say. We got the skirms moving forward. Elite skirms for Nili. The problem here is that eagle and crossbow... Actually, think about this. Eagle and crossbow, does it beat knight and elite skirm? Probably not. Knight and elite skirm seems like a better composition than eagle crossbow. That being said, you need knights, you know, otherwise your eagles will just absolutely eat the skirmishers over here. No defense upgrades on those skirms either, which is going to make life easier for the crossbows. And now the eagles are attacking down hills. Nili trying to save his skirms for the time being. Jordan in with the first knight, but he doesn't have +2 defense. Instead, he's got +1/+1. The eagles are a bit separated though from the crossbows, which means that the knights can actually take some nice hits on them. Nice micro over there from Nili and Jordan, and now Noisick and Whitecourt has to be careful. So with that, we're gonna have second TC coming in here for Jordan, and Nili's gonna play 1 TC overall. Somehow an eagle got inside his base, probably through this hole, but he just throws it down with a couple of javelin. So 82 villagers though for Noisick's team, 67 for Nili's. How did that even happen? Where's the TC idle time indicator? Whitecourt has an awful lot of village idle time. He's already at 27 minutes. TC idle time was actually fairly big for Nili, 237 already. Definitely didn't help his cause over there. Now it's Knight and Lead Skirm though. The eco is much better for Noisick and Whitecourt. They have been on 2 TCs longer as well. 2 TCs as well for Jordan, but Nili is playing with 1. We'll see if he goes for 1 TC Imp, to be honest, because it is very possible that he's gonna try that, or just go for a TC in the middle, because right now they have the military advantage, +2 defense knights, +1, +2 knights. With Byzantine elite skirms, they do mean business. And egos are nice and everything, but these egos don't have good upgrades on them. The knights will just tear them apart, so to say. So we're gonna have a monastery being mixed in here by Noisick to try and convert a couple of knights, but monks here is not as important as it is in 1v1s. In 1v1s, monks are legit to try and convert knights. In 2v2s, not so much, because the skirmishers will just throw them down. And an awful fight for the Chileans, bit of a miscoordination over there, because the crossbows leave the eagles, and now the eagles are getting absolutely eaten by the knights. Knights will now disengage, Jordan zigzagging away from the arrow fire, and now the skirmishers are coming in here for Nili. Nili's eco upgrades aren't looking good. In fact, in general, his eco is looking awful, but he is making those cheap Byzantine skirmishers, and their army composition right now is much better. Now they have the hill, so this is the time to think about dropping a TC over there. We're gonna have a fast husbandry over here, so the knights can catch up with the eagles and crossbows a little easier. And it looks like now Noisick is gonna go for the full aggro play of 5 barracks eagles. That's gonna be tough to stop, because knights this, knights that, you will get overrun by eagles if you don't have at least 3 stables, preferably 4 here with Berbers. You already have 2 TCs. For Jordan, Nili is still playing with 1 TC and has a lot of TC idle time. That's the biggest problem right now for Nili, that he's controlling his army well, but his eco behind this one is very much idle. Look at this. So, as long as he's not killing villagers, this hurts more than it actually helps. With that, these barracks are on the hill, so it actually is relatively easy to take them down with knights, and that's exactly what we're seeing from Jordan. Nice decision over there. There's a monk coming in. Nili isn't really picking that off with the skirmishers right now, so there will, I think, be at least 1 knight converted. Or now, Jordan pulls away the knights, and the skirms come in. This is why I say that I don't think that the monk play actually makes a lot of sense here. It just doesn't really work out against knights and skirmishers in 2v2. Third TC coming in right now for Jordan. Noisick's team still has a massive eco lead, but one thing that we haven't really seen is an answer to this play. They're just waiting for eagles right now to pile up. More mangonels and crossbows are coming in for Whitecourt as well, so he's going to be at 30 crossbows in this one. Still, you got to be careful if you're Nili and Jordan, because Nili's eco is extremely weak, 40 villagers at 26 minutes of time. Jordan's knights are still scary, but it's not going to lead anywhere if Nili isn't able to expand his eco. He needs at least 1 more TC over here, but he goes University Ballistics first. He might just play with 1 TC, but Deathmatch idle time is going to be very concerning, and here comes the huge sandwich operation. The eagles will jump on the skirms, and if there is no skirm support, Nili misclicks the skirmishers and kills an Ibex, but if there is no skirm support, suddenly the crossbows will just melt the knights. There is just so many eagles. There is just so many eagles, and the knights are trying to do their best, but Aztec eagles are really devastating when you have good numbers of them. It's only +1/+1 upgrades as well from these guys. Crossbows now take the hill. Some of the eagles are fighting up hills, and this might be enough for Gamer Legion, because the eagles were a bit miscoordinated, to be honest. They were fighting the knights. They were fighting the knights instead of just running up on the hill and fighting the skirmishers. And now suddenly, military numbers are in the favor of Gamer Legion quite heavily. These knights do have +2 defense, +1 attack, and husbandry, so they actually surround those crossbows very nicely. With skirmisher support, that army goes down really easily for Whitecourt, and they do have a 26 villagers lead. But that doesn't change the fact that Nili and Jordan now has a decisive army lead. It seemed like the eagles will clean this up, but then the Berber Knights happened, and as I said, this is the key. 5 stable Berber Knights now, and 5 barracks eagles is very scary, but it depends on the production. 1-on-1 the Knights clap the eagles, and Berber Knights are so easy to flood, because they're so cheap. And now it is 28 army against 47, the Chileans getting pushed back over here, and the barracks will soon start going down. Skirmishers from Nili will be harassing this gold mine as well. And now he's bringing the skirmishers to intercept reinforcements. That's a great idea as well. Because the thing is that Noisick's army is actually pinned down inside his base, so all he needs to do is just camp this crossing and make sure that those crossbows aren't able to come and relieve his teammate. And with that, Jordan just keeps flooding the knights, and as I said, it's a flood of knights combined with an early Imperial from the other player. And with that, Nili is actually going to go into Imperial with like 49 Voyagers. Thumbring coming in right now for him. And he will probably just continue with Elite Skirms at this stage, although he might switch to Arbs, although I don't think Arbs make sense against Britons and Aztecs. It might just make more sense to go for those cheap Elite Skirmishers. You don't need a crazy eco for that. And Imperial Age Elite Skirms will still be scary from Byzantines. Jordan is actually mining stone like crazy, so he's gonna drop a castle soon. They both will have a foothold in the middle, Nili and Jordan having some nice TC spots over there. Barracks are going down really fast from Noisick. Right now, Noisick had to rebuild like 4 barracks back at home. Now, once again, a big fight comes in here. Pikemen are also mixed in, and Imperial Age is coming in for Whitecourt as well. Whitecourt has a crazy eco compared to Nili over here. Nice sandwich over there by Jordan, also fighting down hills. Ego's trying to intercept the skirmishers, and I am really unsure who is gonna have the upper hand in this fight. I feel like this is just once again armies canceling each other over here instead of anyone winning this fight specifically. Both sides losing huge numbers, but that favors Nili and Jordan because they're the one applying pressure and they are the ones having the middle control. Jordan getting close to dropping a castle over here. He has 15 knights on the field remaining. Only 3 eagles remain. And now it's pikemen from Noisick to try and stop the knights, but that's where the skirmishers come into play. And with that, we are gonna have the knights running in for once again some damage being done. It hurts the ego production as well that these knights are killing gold miners. Noisick's other gold mine is... where is that gold mine even at? Where is that gold mine? I think he just ran out of it. There had to be a gold mine here, and he just ran out of it. So that's the only gold income right now for Noisick. He is mining stone quite heavily, so I guess he's either selling stone or he wants a defensive castle for himself. This is a bad fight for Gamer Legion over there, running into a bunch of pikemen with the knights. And oh my goodness! Lord Doubt, is that you? One of these castles will turn into a Doubt castle. The question is which? I feel like it is gonna be Whitecourt's castle not going up. Jordan is gonna lose a couple of villagers here, but it's skirmishers and knights supporting. That castle is at 70% though. One castle will be a Doubt castle, but which one? And it looks like it's gonna be Jordan's. It looks like Jordan's castle isn't going up. You have to focus down the villagers here with that castle, but Jordan's castle is actually going to be the knight here, or is it? The castle is not focusing the villagers, and you have to manually target those villas with that. Jordan getting that castle up slowly. Legitimate Doubt castle over here, which means that this will turn into a petard race. This is gonna turn into petards indeed. Jordan reacts faster, goes for immediate petards. No petards just yet for Whitecourt. And you see that Jordan is diving in with the knights, knowing that he needs to take that castle down. Nili coming in with the casual skirmisher raids. Noisick's team still has a massive lead in terms of economy. Both teams have one Imperial Age player, but Whitecourt, who is the Imp player from the Chilean team, is actually in a much better eco-wise. Still, that's Elite Skirms raiding in here, and there is no real answer for the Elite Skirms until the Egos arrive, and this might be an overextension from Nili. This might be an overextension because all those skirms will go down to the Eagles. Battering ram just now coming in. And I think that this castle is going to go down to Whitecourt, losing 20 villagers that are inside as well. But Nili's army is going to get cleaned up over here. And Whitecourt decides to call the GG because even if they clean this one up, they don't have middle control. If you combine it with this fight over here, I think Noisick wanted to get a castle up here himself, but he realized that he's losing this fight over here. They're losing this castle. What a game this was. We got petard race, we got 1 TC Imp with skirmisher play, and Gamer Legion takes game number 2 as well. Looking sharp. Looking sharp. So with that, we now have 2 games in the favor of Gamer Legion, and this means that we're going to the final home map of the Chileans, which will be Team Acropolis. So far, if you look at the civilizations, by the way, Mayans, Burgundians, you got Berbers, Byzantines as well. So far they picked their first 2 selections overall over there. And if tendency continues, this could very well be a Khmer and Burmese play, to be honest. Because I think Turks will go for Regicide Fortress or maybe Spanish. Highlands is Italians, that's for sure. I don't know where Burmese will be used, but Spanish could make sense on islands like Italian Spanish maybe, or Italians Burmese. Regicide Fortress seems like it's going to be... I think Regi Fortress is Khmer and Spanish or Turks. Probably Khmer and Turks. So I would think it's Spanish and Portuguese now, and Portuguese will be your archer civ for Nili's team. Other side, Cumans will be the Regicide Fortress civ, that's for sure. Ethiopians could be the civ here. Maybe Ethiopians, Sicilians. But Gamer Legion seems to have slightly better civilizations, especially cavalry-wise. And I was expecting this, like... the thing is that Gamer Legion is extremely good when it comes to preparation and drafting, and we did mention that this tournament is very draft heavy. Overall, we're gonna have Team Acropolis coming in here for Nili and Jordan. So with that, we'll jump into game number 3 on the final home map of Noisick+Whitecourt, fighting for a tournament life. Jordan is going to be playing Khmer on the right side in blue, not saving that for Regicide Fortress, and Turks for Nili in green. So we will have Knights and Cav Archers. I would have thought that this is the safe matchup for Regicide Fortress, honestly. Because that could have been very, very good for Regi Fortress. Khmer boom with Turk Cav Archers, maybe a couple of Janissaries, but it looks like we'll have Turk Cav Archers and Khmer. Khmer is a very, very good map for the, or civilization for this one. You can jump into houses, which helps an awful lot on such an open map. You can go for a wood line in the middle immediately, drop a house there, and you won't get raided very easily in early feudal age. That helps quite a bit. Other side will be Noisick as gods in yellow, and Ethiopians for Whitecourt in red. Not really the conventional civs matchup, to be honest. The gods can actually play the role of the cavalry civ, but what gods ultimately want is just flood infantry, obviously. So, here's the deal. This map actually allows to go for a quite crazy boom on this hill. It's a very defendable map. It is allowing a fairly reasonable fast castle play for the teams. That could allow the gods to go for an infantry flood, and that is super dangerous on this one. Ethiopians will most likely be your archer civ, but I feel like the gods will have to be working towards getting early Huskars out and start raiding the opponent. Turks can react that with Janissaries very, very nicely, but mobility is going to be a problem with that. So, for now, it is going to be Jordan coming in on the right side in blue. Left side is going to be, as I said, Nili in green. And the other thing to point out is that there is some extra boards on the south, or well, right now it's north from Gamer Legion and south from the Chileans, if they want to bring in some extra. For gods, that's not an option though. And the reason why is because you might need to hit that board multiple times to make sure it actually follows you, and you will actually kill it too easily with gods. You see that an arrow from a gods actually does a lot of damage on a single board. You also gotta be careful where you kill that board, because gods just kill that with one shot. Boom, there it goes. So with that, we're gonna have early walls coming in here for Whitecourt. This is not really a well-wallable map. You see all these dark patches over here at the back, but they do have an excellent TC spawn over here for whoever wants it. It is a wood line and a gold mine. This is a perfect TC spot over here for either Noisick or Whitecourt, whichever of them actually wants that. Other than that though, it actually takes quite a lot of time to wall your base all the way around. You see that these actually span to the edges and you can't wall on the dark patch, so that means that you just can't wall it off here, and that's it. Anyways, other side we'll have a woodland, the back for Nili. That's a beautiful woodland for him. A little bit dangerous because once again this can be walled off over here, and it looks like both Gamer Legion and the Chileans will have to do some massive walling if they want to stay safe, and I think we'll have to congratulate Noisick for trapping a villager over there. That's a trapped villager. Because that stone mine and that diagonal palisade actually traps the villager in there. And right now Nili is just looking like, hey, there's a villager. He could have actually attacked that will, but it looks like he won't actually commit to this one. Interesting is the fact that the Gothic player doesn't have Loom just yet. Nili will not actually commit to that villager kill. He can't even because those walls are now up. So, with that, walls are coming in for Whitecourt. We'll have Loom for Jordan, and that means that Jordan is actually going for scouts over here. With Khmer, you could definitely think about that. You don't even need the barracks, just go for straight scouts, but I'm not sure how much damage you can cause. Still, early scouts into a farming eco actually makes more sense for Khmer rather than fast castle, because if you go for a Khmer fast castle, your eco isn't going to be super strong. If you open stable, make 2 scouts, and then stop making them, just go for full farming eco, you're gonna have a crazy eco, to be honest. Nili slowly walling themselves up, and this is actually extremely important wall here. Being able to wall it off is huge, but the right side won't really be wallable, so I'm not sure how they will wall themselves around. Like, you have to wall all the way through the back here and here. So with that, barracks now coming in for Nili as well, which means that we are gonna have archers coming in for Nili. He's going up at 23. What even is this? This is a fast castle, probably 25 plus 2, could be 24 plus 2 as well, but it's going to be probably a straight cav archers play. He could try going for crossbows, but I don't think it's worth it because it's somewhat unlikely that you will do a lot of damage with them. It's probably better to go straight cav archers here with Turks. And then those cav archers can raid these wood lines, which would be a nice move from Gamer Legion in there. So we're gonna have a Whitecourt in the gold mine coming in, and Nili for Turks in green. So we'll have the scouts on the way for Jordan. He's successfully laming away 2 turkeys, or well, right now it's geese, but 2 herdables being lamed away from our red player hurts quite badly for a fast castle, especially because they don't have a lot of deer to push. It looks like Whitecourt is going for a fast castle, tries to do 25 plus 2. Obviously, the extra resources that you get when reaching Feudal Age helps quite a bit for Whitecourt here, but still, this I don't think is going to be a good enough food count to go straight into Castle Age here. He's going for barracks just now. That's going to be a couple of seconds late as well to drop the archer range. But regardless of that, we're going to have Nili actually going for a super greedy play here. Look at that. He skips Loom. Goes for Feudal right away, just to be able to... Actually, no, he skipped Loom because he's going fast castle. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I now realize. Alright, so Nili and Jordan are playing like half open. There is a hole here, there is a massive hole over here. So they're not really committing that much to walling themselves off as the Chileans are doing. It looks like we're gonna have Vulture to stone here. No surprise about that by Noisick. He's going for... full Castle Age play, but that stone man is pretty awful for a Gothic player, and you can see that Nili knows about that. And I can tell you this much, Nili is going to send his first 2 Voyagers on, or first 2 Cav Archers here, to this stone mine. Because he knows exactly that denying the Gothic player from that stone is going to be crucial. Nili is going to lose that scout's HP here in a fight. He thought that he's going to be up to Feudal Age a little bit faster, turns back, lands 1 more hit, but he lost that scout ultimately. With that, Jordan is trying to bring back the geese, but apparently that's going to take quite a lot of time because the left side is completely walled off. So archers now for Whitecourt. He has to idle his TC a tiny bit to go up to the next stage because, as I said, he lost 2 geese, and that's exactly the herdables that he was missing for his Castle Age. So, with that, Castle Age on the way for Noisick. He's at 320 stone right now. Nili still doesn't have any archers on the field, I believe. So I feel like if you are Noisick, you can secure that stone mine with a castle if you drop it immediately. But you gotta drop it immediately. Sometimes you delay your castle with gods and go for additional TCs. I feel like with such a stone, you have to go for the immediate castle. Because if you don't drop that, cav archers will just deny that stone very, very easily here. So Jordan, as I said, he went for a couple of scouts, but it's ultimately just a boom for him. Only 10 on farms, but it's Khmer farming. He also has very limited amount of villagers on berries. Goes for a second stable already, so it's gonna be knights and cav archers from Gamer Legion, whereas on the other side we already have archers being queued up, and fairly decent amount of them inside that range for Whitecourt. So, with that, we're gonna have Noisick soon reaching Castle Age. That stone count starts to look fairly promising. 600 on the horizon, and I don't think that Nili can stop a castle. If we have a castle being dropped immediately, then this shouldn't really be denied. With that, you see the ping here from Nili saying, hey, there is archers inside. There's gonna be about 10 archers coming towards Jordan pretty soon. Second TC up for Nili immediately on the gold mine, and he's gonna go for double range cav archers. Not something super aggressive. It's going to be more like just to make sure they don't actually get overrun. It looks like it's gonna be a couple of scouts taking a fight over here on the right side. And it's actually more about the fact that you don't really want to lose your scout if you're Noisick and Whitecourt, because you want to make sure that you have a good scouting across the map. You see that Whitecourt scouting is pretty underwhelming. Noisick's one is slightly better, but keeping those scouts alive could be important to find these neutral resources on the sides, whereas Jordan, I'm fairly certain that he's going to use his leftover scouts to just scout around the map in general. Nili's scouting also is somewhat low, and here comes the castle. Not necessarily the best spot, because cav archers from this point might still be able to deny the gold mine or the stone mine, but still, the castle goes up. We'll have free TCs for Noisick over here, and you still gotta be careful with the Gothic boom, because technically Turks is one of the best civilizations to fight against gods. They have insane gunpowder, but the mobility factor is a bit of a problem for Gamer Legion. So if it goes into a very, very late Imperial scenario and Turks have to go for Janissaries potentially, then you gotta play with a lot of stone walls, like stone wall here, stone wall here, stone wall here, and limit the movement of the Huskars, because if they can just run around, they will just eat you alive. You won't have the Janissaries helping you when they just run past them. So, cav archers now coming in for Nili. He is going to spot the castle in a matter of moments. And with that, he's not gonna be able to deny the stone mine, but I did tell you, the idea was that you go and deny that stone mine immediately with the cav archers. Wait a second, there is no loom for Noisick. This was a super greedy. He's going no loom with gods, just finished loom. Oh my god. Like, you don't even need that much time for loom or gods. Still, at the end of the day, loom is actually in for him. Lost the villager over there on the wood line. The early advantage will be on the side of Gamer Legion. They will have the mobility with the cav archers. They will be just running around, trying to pick off villagers. Where did the crossbows from Whitecourt go, though? He's actually just marching them back and forth at home, going for a market. They don't really have good map control. They have a TC at the back over here, but they weren't able to land any TCs here on the bottom part of the valley. You're gonna have Jordan going for TC number 3 over here on the wood line, and now we're gonna have a couple of knights as well. With the support of the cav archers, they could actually try bashing their way through the walls, but as I said, Noisick and Whitecourt is pretty much cornered in here in this little base, and little bases are always very exposed to archers raiding. You see that Nili is able to idle quite a lot of villagers just by having a couple of archers right next to the wall. And Nili is gonna have more cav archers coming in soon as well. Indeed, he already has the next batch over here. He's playing this one safe, making sure that he's not gonna lose his villagers to any units that might be coming that way. Another TC is being brought by Whitecourt to make it free. I wonder if Nili and Jordan knows about the wood line at the back, and the answer is no. So they're not looking for that TC, which is quite helpful overall for Whitecourt and Noisick. Still, The idea here is that you use your archer player to make sure that your opponent doesn't finish you off, so to say. So the archer player is just meant to make sure the cav archers don't kill the Gothic player. It is a delay tactics with the archer player, sort of a defensive play, with a relatively strong eco behind that one still, and just let the Gothic player go full boom. And you still gotta be careful with Gothic players being fully boomed. As I said, the mobility factor is something that the Turks will struggle against. Even though they have the direct answer to Huskars, mobility is going to be a problem. So, cav archers from Nili still running around. I like these walls being reinforced. One way to lose games against cav archers is to let them get through your palisade walls, and Whitecourt doesn't really want to allow that. This is match point, so you really don't want some cav archers running through your walls and then camping a gold mine like that, because that would be a disaster. Still, Imperial Age coming in here for Jordan. What is that imp timing, man? Khmer is crazy. Khmer is just crazy over here. Jordan's gonna go for a super fast Imperial here, his own stone as well. And I wonder if Jordan actually wants, like, if Whitecourt is not moving out of his base, Jordan might think about a forward cast and try to trap this castle down before things spiral out of control. And here come a couple of forward Voyagers. What is this going to be? Forward stables. So they just want to probably finish off Whitecourt here. It's a super aggressive play. Jordan has 2 knights on the field only. So I really wonder what this is going to be about. The thing is that Jordan's eco is alright. 73 Voyagers is not bad, but it's not really great for flooding Hussar, even though now he's on 4 TCs and he's got Hunt as well. So his food eco is going to be better. 4 TC coming in here for Noisick, and he's getting Scale Mail. I feel like we're getting close to the flood region. Elephants from Khmer could be an idea, but I don't think that the eco is good enough for Jordan for that. I see his chain barring just now coming in. He's not going to have any attack upgrades on them. He's definitely not making any more knights, but he's not making elephants either. He's getting husbandry just now. But look at this. It looks like it's going to be Halberdier immediately by Noisick. So I think they're expecting Jordan to go up to Imperial and flooding knights here. And I think that's the right thing to do. They didn't see a lot of knights. And that's gonna be Halberdiers. But here's the deal. There is enough cav archers, and these cav archers will be fairly decent against those Halberdiers, even though they don't have ballistics, stumbling, or basically any other upgrade other than Botkin Arrow over here. And it's gonna be Pikeman coming in now. Elephantarinos for Jordan for the victory, as the ecos are still dead even for the 2 players, or the 2 teams. And here come the elephants, but the numbers are somewhat disappointing. I mean, they will be scary, but these are not better than Castle Age elephants right now. Plate barring just now coming in alongside Bloodlines, but they will see this. I feel like it's a mistake from Jordan that he reveals this right now, because now their opponents know what's up, and there's gonna be the pikeman coming in. Still, the cav archers might be able to pick off the pikeman, but honestly, pikeman and Huskar might still be tough to stop, and mobility is not gonna be there for Jordan. That's the bigger problem. He's gonna have a slow army, elephants. So if you are Noisick, you send 6-7 Huskars this way, because Nili won't be able to clean it up with cav archers, and the elephants won't actually get there. Another forward stable from Jordan in this one, as Nili is actually going to push in here with the support of the elephants. It looks like Whitecourt doesn't want to fight this with his crossbows. Imperial Age coming in here as well for Nili. Noisick wants to go Imp as well. A couple of pikemen coming here to join the fun. Now they actually focus down the elephants. And this is fightable. I'm not sure why Whitecourt is not fighting. He's trying to focus down the CA. And now the elephants are flooding. Don't tell me that this build is gonna be the one that wins the final game for Gamer Legion. This isn't really supposed to work, I believe. This cav archer is slowly going down though, something that you have to keep in mind. So I'm really unsure if this works out for Nili's team. In fact, I am getting more and more certain that this does not, or at least it shouldn't work. Because the cost efficiency on these fights is awful for Jordan and Nili. And as I said, Jordan doesn't really have the eco to flood elephants here right now. So pikemen are in, and those pikemen just eat the elephants alive, so to say. And there isn't really enough cav archers for Nili. There's a castle coming up for Jordan for a couple of traps potentially. And this is the time when if you are Noisick, you start sending in Huskars into the opponent's eco because you know that the elephants are here, which means that there is only cav archers defending over here. There soon has to be either Janissaries or hand cannoneers from Nili. Nili is almost up to Imperial, and I would assume it's going to be hand cannoneers because it doesn't have a castle. There is Anarchy, and once again, those elephants get caught off guard by the pikemen. The pikemen have pretty decent upgrades, +1/+1, and that's a lot of pikemen. Once again, fairly inefficient fight for Jordan, so this is looking better and better for our warm color team over here. Halberdier just now in Anarchy is coming as well. No perfusion just yet. Imperial Age, the last player to reach it will be Whitecourt, but when he reaches it, he's gonna have like 40 arbs. And that should be enough to hold against some of the elephants. Especially with the hill advantage. Tumbring just now coming in. It's gonna be Ethiopian arbs soon with hill advantage over here. And the thing is that Nili and Jordan actually have to win this game fast. The reason why I actually am okay with Nili+Jordan's strategy is because I feel like they also know that they have to win fast. If they don't win this fast, the gods will just overrun them. Not based on actual units, it's going to be about the mobility, that Turks can go hand cannon, sure, but those are way slower than Huskars are. So, Imperial Age almost in here for Whitecourt. Nili actually has a +3 attack right now already, and he might actually take this fight. Heavy CA on the way, as now here comes the blob of elephants. Bracer still 30 seconds away, and this could be the decider fight of the game. This could be the decider fight. If the upgrades come in for Whitecourt, he will be able to hold this hill over here. Still no flood of infantry from Noisick. In fact, Noisick is somewhat underwhelming with production. Perfusion would be extremely important here. Parthian tactics and Heavy Cav Archer is now in. You see the red pings over here, and Whitecourt is telling his teammate, bro, go and raid. And that's exactly what you have to do. So, now it's gonna be a castle up here for Nili. He's still going Cav Archers, though not a single gunpowder unit on the field as of yet. Arbalest is now in, only +1 defense on them, but they will soon have chemistry. They have the hill, they have Tumbling with Ethiopians. And it looks like Nili is just trying to make sure that they are aware of potential raids here with outposts. And now it's going to be markets already being set up by Gamer Legion. Sort of a poke and probe situation. And look at this. That's a bit of a miscoordination. Nili is making markets in this corner, and Jordan is making them over here. They just can't agree which corner to trade from. They could trade from here to here, or from here to here, but apparently they're not agreeing on that right now. And this is what I was talking about. The way that Turks can beat gods is by Stonewall, Stonewall, Stonewall. Stonewall and Janissary or Hand Cannoneer would work quite nicely. But here's the Elite Huskar on the way for Noisick. Still no perfusion. And with that, those barracks are still working somewhat underwhelmingly. So at this point, the Gothic player being at 170 population is a big disappointment. Castle is gonna be up for Whitecourt, and they will actually start trapping down this castle. Now, here's the deal. The gods now have to start flooding infantry, because otherwise these elephants will start rolling and they will just eat everything alive. Now, there's a villager here, and this villager could definitely get 2 barracks up and start actually getting Huskars in. Coinage and the fortified wall for Nili. And there is still this miscoordination between the players. Look at this, Jordan is stonewalling this side. Stonewall actually makes sense because that denies the opponent's trade. And oh my goodness, now they're unleashing the elephants. Look at those majestic beasts. And with the castle, there's tusk swords in as well for Jordan, I believe. Heavy CA with Sipahis, Parthian tactics as well. And this is the problem. As I said, with gods, you actually have to flood units, and it's not really a flood, it's more like a trickle currently from Noisick. And that's one TC that could go down really easily. The other TC is also in danger. Cav Archers will run away. And the thing is that the Gothic player never actually attempted to do any kind of raiding with Huskars. There was never a moment where you saw 20 Huskars running into Nili's eco, and Nili struggling to clean that one up with Cav Archers. That being said, those elephants are actually going down, and they did kill some, but reality is that Noisick's army is still fairly big, and his villager count is absolutely alright as well. So this wasn't as big of a push as it seemed like, and it was fairly expensive to do. Trap firing down hills. Jordan seems like he's going to lose that castle because it seems that he won't actually finish off that trap over there. Once again, elephants pushing over here. Some halberdiers coming in to support. And there is the forward Brax coming in here for Noisick finally to do this. And once again, those elephants will get cleaned up by the flood of halberdiers. TC coming in now, and I feel like now Game of Legion starts to fall apart. Huskars coming in. Elephants slowly trickling through the map, but Arbalest will just pick them off one by one after all. And, well, there is quite a lot of raiding done by these hero elephants over here, but Murder Hose. Nili's actually getting Murder Hose for his castles over here. He is finishing with the fortified walls, and it's Bombard Towers. Keep in mind that Nili's got great deathmatch experience, and that could help a lot as well. And the Chileans don't have trade. Also, they are not noticing that their villagers at the back are getting killed by elephants, and now look at the villager count of the Chileans. It's dropping, especially Whitecourt's will count for post-imp is actually very, very weak. 6 Pierce Armor on those Cav Archers with 100 HP. I think they can take this fight. And now I think Game of Legion once again is in the driver's seat, because these elephants are doing so much damage. 80 villagers only for Whitecourt. His army is still big. But Nili also has 67 Cav Archers on the field, and remember, as I said, Bombard Towers could actually start pushing this one very soon. Finally, the halberdiers clean up the elephants over here, but look at Jordan just stonewalling through the entire map. They locked down like 60% of the map. This is some very, very nice team coordination, and at this point, all they will just say is whatever, we'll just go and trade. Finally, this is the first time that Huskars come in, and you see that they could kill so much or idle so many villagers. Just a couple of them, and now it's gonna be the halberdiers flooding out here. Bombard Tower is up for Nili, so he's gonna defend against this one quite nicely over here. It's going to be tough to clean this up, but I feel like this wall-off here is helping quite a lot. Now Huskars are in, and Nili's Cav Archers won't do much against these guys. You see that they're firing, but it takes so much arrow fire to kill an elite Huskar, man. So now it is going to be Murder Hose. Remember, there is Murder Hose. Nili going for Janissaries to clean this one up, and he's gonna build at least another Bombard Tower over here, or maybe even a castle, or just, you know, let those villagers get killed by the halberdiers. It's only 2 Janissaries now, it's free. So I think this Bombard Tower stays up for Nili. Big fight in the middle coming in with the Huskars. The Huskars also are trying to break through on the right side, and there's a tree that could be chopped down to get through. Arbalest pushing through the middle on the right side, and Nili's Cav Archers have to be reassembled over here. Jordan right now only at 80 in the military. Nili's got great military over here, but the problem is that you still have the trouble with the gods. It's now a couple of Janissaries trying to finish off, but it's an infinite flood of infantry, and a couple of Janissaries won't actually stop this. Nili has a serious production bottleneck over here. Their opponents do not have any trade though, so the flood of Huskars will soon stop. If Noisick isn't able to find some trade for himself, they will actually try to bash their way through these walls with some rams, and then establish trade to this corner. Over here, rams coming in as well for Whitecourt to clean up those stables. Now it's a couple of Janissaries here for Nili. It lands another Bombard Tower to finish off these barracks. If those barracks are finished, then basically they can control the middle. Scorpions from Jordan right now with all the benefits of a Khmer over here, potentially double crossbow as well. Double crossbow Scorpions against the infantry seems like a reasonable choice, but it seems that we'll have a long game coming in over here for us. Stone walls in the middle, and it could end up being a stalemate. The real question is, when can Noisick and Whitecourt get through these walls and establish trade? Because if they secure this part of the map for themselves, this could be an extremely long game. Armies are still enormous over here, as Jordan is trying to take a fight against those halberdiers and Huskars. So still, I think that Turks, especially with the trade over here that is slowly being established by Gamer Legion, potential Bombard Towers, they should have the upper hand now in post-Imperial. And the dock coming in here, Nili is docking the middle, researching War Galley. This is only the qualifiers. This is only the qualifiers of a tournament. We have 1 month more of this. And I have to say that this is... I'm trying to, you know, being independent at evaluating my own tournament. But come on, man. if you watch all those recorded games from Friday, Thursday, you gotta say that this was one of the best qualifiers in recent tournament history, because there were so many memorable games. With this one, the Chileans pushing through the middle, attempting a castle right in the face of the opponent as they're bashing their way to the right side. Jordan tries to fortify this. This has been cleaned up as trade isn't really satisfactory right now for Gamer Legion. Nili has barely any gold income. Jordan is also low on gold, whereas for Noisick, he still has a lot of gold to mine. And Nili now going for... This could be Turkish cannon galleons with artillery at the end. It's definitely possible. Fortified walls still holding over here, but Whitecourt actually wants to get to this corner. As long as there is no gold income from Noisick and Whitecourt from trade, this could be, or this should be Gamer Legion's set. But still, we're going to have a wood chopperation in the middle, and this could really end up being a very long game. Something that Nili loves to play with his deathmatch expertise. In here, another castle comes up for Whitecourt. Let's take a look at the relic count. We do have 3 relics for Nili, by the way, 0 for Jordan, 0 for any of the Chileans over here. Another bombard tower comes in for Nili to secure the middle. Khmer Scorpions now with, I think that's double crossbow. Indeed, that's double crossbow already on them. So it's full upgrades. It's full upgrades over there. Siege Rams now knocking down the walls over here. And it is Nili trying to go for the galleon play here. Castle almost up. Bombard cannon is in as well. Noisick and Whitecourt still behind in score, and they still don't have a trade. But their push seems a lot more convincing now. Double the army as their opponent is having. Still, they have to make sure that if they don't have gold, then Gamer Legion doesn't have gold either. So they have to do some raiding on that. And now they're establishing the trade on the right side in a matter of moments. They're through the walls. So castle is up. Nili is waiting for some more ships to pile up, or he just quit making them. Really, cannon galleons could make sense here to take that down. Trap is out to take down the bombard. As the bombard tower wall is gonna be hard to get through, as now Turks actually starts to shine. Because guess what? This is what I was talking about. The way that Turks can beat gods is with stone walls. You gotta make sure that gods can just overrun you from 10 directions. You just need to force a narrow choke point engagement with bombard towers, bombard cannons, hand cannoneers over there. And speaking of that, as Jordan is trying to take down the siege rams with his villagers, we have a big push on the left side coming in with siege rams as well. Nili has to reroll, but I don't think that actually is going to happen. The arbalests are not actually caring about the villagers, but if they just go in here, they will pick off the villas, and this big counterattack could result in a lot of chaos for Gamer Legion. Still, double the army for Noisick and Whitecourt. They will be able to secure this corner for a moment, and well, now those rams are gonna be through the walls, that's for sure. Halberdiers are down, and now it's going to be Jordan going for light cav as well. There isn't really a huge trade for Gamer Legion. They have some, but it's not an awful lot. And now we are through the walls as we have a market being set up. I would think that the Whitecourt needs to stonewall that one off as well, because they need to make sure that their trade is actually safe. Nili dispatching all the cav archers to the left side, but that just means that Whitecourt could actually push in here. If Turks have artillery, that's a bad move. That's a bad move from Whitecourt. His bombard cannons have 12 range, but Nili has artillery. Nili has artillery on those bombard towers, so those have 13 range. Turk bombard towers outrange bombard cannons with artillery, and you see that the bombard cannon is actually gonna go down over there. You need traps to take those down, or rams potentially. Rams pushing the corner now as they're going for the market. As still we have 150 Voyagers against 95 military over here. Nili's team has a slightly better eco, and they do have trade rolling, but gold income isn't really satisfactory right now. In the middle, bombard towers are still standing. With Deathmatch World Cup 4 coming up, this is the reason why Deathmatch bans bombard towers. It actually is so hard to destroy them, and it creates stalemates very frequently. Turkish cannon galleons with artillery. If there is a lead cannon galleon, that's gonna be one of the longest range units in the game. Just think about how many crazy things we have seen in the qualifiers so far. 3 days into the tournament, we have seen Supremacy Villagers, we have seen Scottish being reserved, we have seen what else we have seen? We have seen these Turkish cannon galleons with artillery, and I probably forgot half of the things that already happened. It's crazy. So, with that, the castle is still standing in the middle. The bombard cannons take down the cannon galleons. Left side, Whitecourt and Noisick are still pushing the trade, so there is no more trade for Gamer Legion. They will have to re-establish trade somewhere around over here. They even deleted the markets. Jordan re-rolling the right side, which forces these trade carts to walk all the way around here. Look at this, the trade carts! The trade carts, man! They actually are looping all the way around because now it's walled up. So the trade carts from Whitecourt and Noisick are actually going all the way through the middle. And the thing is that now it looks like Gamer Legion wants to establish trade over here because they're making bombard towers. They realize that the left corner is lost, so they will actually go for bombard towers here and just secure the trade in this corner. Once again, siege rams pushing in. Oh my lord, what is this game? What is this game? Scorpions now eating the halberdiers alive. Markets being established by Nili here at the end, but there's a chance that they will just bombard tower rush this corner to make sure that a trade cannot be established. Nili is actually getting close to that. And, well, we're gonna have cannon galleons once again from Nili over here. 15 range, trying to take that castle down over there as Whitecourt and Noisick are trying to bash their way through the middle. They're completely out of gold, that's totally true. But Nili+Jordan doesn't have amazing gold income either. They have trade, that's true. But it just starts rolling again. Still, 140 military against 80, but soon Chile needs their trade. Like actual reliable gold income, otherwise this is gonna be troublesome. A mangonel comes in here for Jordan to keep those rams at bay. And it is walls slowly, now he's repairing the walls with villagers from behind. Halberdiers slowly trickling in though, and those walls will go down. Eventually, there is a couple of orbs denying the markets in the corner for Nili. Nice move over there from Whitecourt. Nili+Jordan take over in score lead, and Nili already dropping bombard towers on these wood lines, realizing that, oh man, wood is gonna be a problem soon. I did mention that Nili is a deathmatch player, so he knows exactly when to start thinking about, okay, this is going to go down to wood control soon. And with that, there is still no trade to the left corner from Nili's team, but they at least have some trade. 49 gold per trip versus 67 actually, so that's a slightly better trade overall for Noisick and Whitecourt. Nili's ships here on the middle pond are actually helping quite a bit cleaning this one up, and if you clean this up you can drop bombard towers and secure the middle, and from that point on it's war of attrition. Because the thing is that you will have the better trade, you already have free relics for Nili, and you also gotta consider that you have more map control. It looks like we have a diagonal trade from, well, somewhat diagonal from Whitecourt and Noisick, and Nili's team is just going for this corner and this corner. Cannon Galleon slowly taking down the building city. Elite Cannon Galleon! Elite Cannon Galleon with artillery, that's 17 range, right? Before Timurid Siegecraft, that was the longest range that you could possibly achieve in the game, and here it is. Look at that, 17 range, elite cannon galleons. I need to hire someone to collect these moments, like, I don't know, Scottish being resurged, elite cannon galleon on Acropolis with artillery. This is what Turquoise brings you. You would never see this in a tournament where you can just pick whatever civ you want for the games, because you would never see Turks on this map like this. And now these are elite cannon galleons controlling the middle, and Nili is pushing through the middle with the bombard towers. And I think that Nili's team is slowly winning this one. What a series this was, especially this final game. This was absolutely amazing, and it's all about bombard towers now for Nili. He's just pushing up inch by inch, grabbing the bombard towers. There is a diagonal trade going for Noisick's team right now, and it actually is pretty sick. 67 gold per trip is actually better than Nili's team, but it's still not necessarily enough, and now Nili is inching closer and closer to cutting that off. Hussar now flooding in from Jordan, and at the end of the day, I think that Gamer Legion has this, and they will be the third team in the main event from Gamer Legion if they win this game. Villager count and military count is still close, but I mean, when you go for Ethiopian skirmishers against bombard towers and hussars, that feels like a lost situation. Really, although there is quite a lot of huskars coming in here, so that could be a little bit scary. Nili is just gonna go for bombard tower defense over here. But I think that the raids will just intensify now from Nili and Jordan. Still, that's a massive investment, by the way. Fully upgraded galleons here. Well, they don't have careening, but still. And fully upgraded cannon galleons here in the middle means that that was a lot of resources for Nili, especially very, very gold heavy. As the trade is still up for the Chileans, but they can't really stop the flood of bombard towers. They're trying their best to do so. Nili doing a good job keeping his heavy cav archers alive, and indeed, at the end it goes down to there was no early Huskar raids from Noisick whatsoever. They allowed Jordan to go into a crazy number of elephants, and they allowed Nili to stonewall the sides. So, with that, another bombard tower is in siege ram trying to take this one down as much as possible, because there is nothing that Nili can do against the siege ram right now. You see, bombard towers don't do damage against siege ram because of the extra pierce armor that it has, and the cav archers don't stop it either. So Whitecourt actually stalls this push out here. With that, we got more Hussar coming in here from Jordan, and he's going to just push in on the right side now with all the Hussar into the trade of the opponent. The left side once again is safe. Siege tower, another siege tower. I did forget the siege tower in the previous set. I think it was actually Whitecourt and Noisick using siege tower in that set as well. That was the one that actually brought in the infantry to this side. Remember that there was a bunch of Huskars like these around here. They arrived through a siege tower over there. Oh my goodness. Add that to the list of crazy things we have seen in the qualifiers. Siege tower, Cottage, Inquisition, artillery cannon galleons. What a series, what a game that we're having here. And you see that Whitecourt and Noisick are now running out of wood as well. So they don't really have any wood to chop. In fact, there is this one, Nili bombard tower that already. And if Nili gets a bombard tower up in here, there's going to be no legitimate wood income for Whitecourt and Noisick. And this will go down to wood control and not gold control soon. Nili trying to slow this one down as much as possible as the Scorpions arrive over here to deal with the skirmishers. Right side, however, light cav is moving in. There is some Ethiopian halberdiers over there. I think if Jordan moves in with all these light cav, suddenly things start running a lot worse for Noisick and Whitecourt. They did put up a big show for us today here, that's for sure. This was a very, very back and forth series. Even though the scoreline is 3-0, or at least it seems like it's going to go towards 3-0. But the first game, Arabia, it almost felt like Nili and Jordan will just fall apart. Second game, there were some very, very scary moments as well for Nili and Jordan. And this game was absolutely amazing. Once again, Huskars coming in. That siege tower is still in there. I'm just going to rewind this one for our own pleasure. Because, guess what? Here it is. That's not necessarily how gods should and do flood infantry, especially now that we have Capture Age freezing for a moment. I'm fairly certain it's because of the long game. Don't worry, it's gonna come back. We just need to wait a couple of seconds until it actually wakes up again. But, yeah, here it is. So, it woke up again, and Huskar raids coming in here. Nili holding this one with Janissaries over here on the left side. And look at this. Nili actually rolling these villagers in here, trying to make sure that they're just unable to attack the eco of Gamer Legion. And now this is the problem that Noisick and Whitecourt are facing. That is something that seems unstoppable. Hello, there's like 30 of those Scorpions rolling forward. And it is now mass villagers getting killed. Gamer Legion is going to end the 3-0 series, but I don't think that the scoreline has showed how good this series was. Because it was a 3-0, but what a 3-0 it was. I feel like at the end of the day, if every 3-0 was like this, it would be a crazy, crazy thing. Small details deciding this one, especially the lack of early Huskar raids. By the time the Huskar raids started to happen, Nili already had bombard towers and walls defending, and it was too late. Still, Noisick and Whitecourt playing really well in this one. Nili and Jordan will be the third representative of Gamer Legion in the main event of 2 post 2. Quick look at the stats because we want to take a look at those though. Military, Nili had an insane KD, and we can say Jordan carried Nili. That's not true. Nili was just as good as Jordan in this set. His second game was a disaster. I totally agree with that. The Eruption game was a disaster from Nili. But the Arabia game with the Arbalest play, and this game was extremely good from him. The long game favoring Nili's playstyle, 900 kills to 340. That's obviously against gods. You expect a positive KD, but that's crazy still over there. Overall, Jordan with the best food eco, obviously. Whitecourt's eco was never really crazy at the end, and that's the problem. 133 gold of trade profit in a game that was 1 hour 10 minutes. So that is just very, very low. Nili also benefiting from the free relics that he has collected, and at the end, it is going to be Gamer Legion advancing to the main event of 2 pose 2.